Have you ever caught yourself doing the exact thing you promised you wouldn't do again while you were doing it? Like you hear yourself snapping at someone you love? You watch yourself text back a person you swore you'd block. You see yourself overeating, overspending, overexplaining, and there's this voice in your head saying, "Girl, what are you doing? We talked about this. You said we were done with this." And before the moment is even over, the shame hits. I'm never going to change. I'm a hypocrite. All this healing work and I'm still like this? Let me ask you something. What if the most powerful place to practice self forgiveness is not after everything explodes, but in the very moment you mess up? Today, we're not just talking about forgiving your past self, we're talking about forgiving your current self, the one still learning, still stumbling, still trying. This is day 26 of our self forgiveness journey, and we're going to talk about what it means to practice self forgiveness in real time. Hey, my beautiful people, welcome back. If you've made it to day 26, I want you to really receive this. You are not just reading about healing, you are living it. You are showing up to your own soul's work over and over again, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's messy. That matters. I'm Dagmari, your host, your coach, your tell you the truth but hold your heart while we unpack it friend. Today's episode is called Self Forgiveness in Real Time. Because here's what I know, it's one thing to sit down months or years later and say, I forgive who I used to be. It's a whole different level of healing to say, I forgive myself for how I just acted, and I'm going to choose differently now while you're still cleaning up the mess. We're going to talk about why we're so hard on ourselves in the moment, what self forgiveness in real time looks like, a story of me catching myself mid pattern, and a practical process you can use the next time you slip. By the end of this episode, I want you to stop waiting until you feel perfect to give yourself grace. You deserve it while you're becoming, not just after. So let's define this. What is self forgiveness in real time? In simple language, is this: the ability to recognize you're messing up, own it, adjust it, and extend compassion to yourself in the moment instead of spiraling into shame and giving up. It's when you hear yourself say something hurtful, and instead of doubling down, you pause and say, I'm sorry, that wasn't fair. Realize you're slipping back into people pleasing, and instead of beating yourself up, you say, okay, I see what I'm doing, and let me correct that. Catch yourself reaching for an old coping mechanism, and instead of calling yourself weak, you say, I'm struggling right now. What do I actually need? Self forgiveness in real time is course correction with compassion. Why does this matter so much for growth? Because if your reaction to every mistake is, I'm trash, I'm hopeless, I'll never change, then you'll start to believe there's no point in trying. Shame doesn't make you more responsible. Shame makes you hide. And when you hide, you don't heal. Let me ask you, what happens when you mess up? Do you shut down? Do you attack yourself? Do you act like the whole healing journey is ruined? Imagine if instead you could say, I messed up. I'm still worthy of love. Let me repair and keep moving. What would your life feel like if that was your default? That's why this matters. Because it's not about healing only in hindsight. It's about healing in motion. Let me tell you about a time I had to practice this in real time. There was a situation with someone close to me, someone I loved deeply. We were talking, and they said something that touched an old wound in me. Not intentionally, but it hit a nerve. Before I knew it, my tone changed. I got sharper, colder. My words had an edge to them. And even as I was talking, I heard this thought in the back of my mind. You're not actually mad at what they just said. You're mad at what this reminds you of. But instead of pausing, I kept going for a minute. Old version of me energy, old defense mechanisms, old armor. Then I saw the look on their face. And you know that feeling? When you see hurt in someone you love and you realize, yeah, that wasn't fair. That wasn't about them. My first instinct was, wow, you talk about healing and you still do this? You're a fraud. You haven't changed at all. That shame tried to swallow me quick. But then another part of me, the part that's been doing this work, spoke up. And she said, no, you have changed. You would have stayed in this energy before. You're seeing it as it's happening. This is growth. So right there, mid-conversation, I took a breath and said, hey, I'm noticing I got defensive just now. That wasn't fair to you. You touched on something that's still tender for me, And instead of saying that, I got sharp. I'm sorry, let me try again. Y'all, that moment right there was not cute. It was not polished, but it was healing. I forgave myself in the moment for sliding into an old pattern and chose to correct it with honesty instead of pride. The old me would have justified my tone, made them the problem, or shut down and then later gone home and beat myself up. But that day, I did something different. I allowed myself to be human and responsible at the same time. And that's what self forgiveness in real time is. Not pretending you didn't do it, not excusing it, but owning it without crucifying yourself. That moment helped me realize healing is not never messing up. Healing is seeing yourself sooner and choosing again. Let's talk about how to actually do this. Here's a simple framework you can use the next time you catch yourself in the middle of an old pattern. Step 1, catch it. I see what I'm doing. The moment you notice you're raising your voice, you're shutting down, you're people pleasing, you're numbing out, you're about to self-sabotage, pause and internally say, okay, I see what I'm doing. No name calling. No, I'm so stupid. Just awareness. Awareness is step 1. Step 2, name it gently. If you're alone, say it out loud or write it down. I'm getting defensive. I'm trying to avoid feeling rejected. I'm reaching for this habit because I feel overwhelmed. If you're with someone you trust, you can even say, hold on, and I'm noticing I'm getting reactive right now. Naming it breaks the automatic pattern. Step 3, pause the spiral. Give yourself permission to take a breath before you continue. You can say, let me pause for a second. I need a moment to think. Can we come back to this in a few minutes? I want to respond better. You're not bailing. You're protecting the conversation and yourself. If you're alone, put the food down. Close the shopping app. Turn off the phone screen. Step away from the situation. Even 30 seconds helps. Step 4, offer yourself compassion in real time. Here's where the self-forgiveness part comes in. Say something like, of course I went here. This is an old survival pattern. I'm not a bad person. I'm a person who's learning. I can correct this without attacking myself. Talk to yourself like you'd talk to a friend who just snapped, slipped, or stumbled. Compassion doesn't remove responsibility. It makes responsibility possible. Step 5, correct, don't cancel. Now choose a different action. That could look like, in conversation, I'm sorry for how I just spoke. Let me say that again more calmly. With a boundary. I said yes, but I need to be honest. I actually don't have the capacity for that. With a coping habit, I'm not going to keep scrolling, texting, eating to numb this. I'm going to sit with what I'm feeling instead. Listen carefully. You are not canceling your healing progress. Because you messed up, you are practicing healing by correcting as you go. Step 6, reflect later, not tear yourself apart. After the moment has passed, come back to it gently. Ask yourself, what was I really feeling? What did I need in that moment? What helped me course correct? What could I try next time? This isn't a trial. It's a debrief. When you start practicing self-forgiveness in real time, you stop abandoning yourself when you mess up. Instead of jumping out of your own body and becoming your harshest critic, you stay with yourself. You become the safe person in the room. You repair relationships faster and more honestly. People around you feel the difference when you say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Instead of defending, stonewalling, or disappearing. Self-forgiveness doesn't just heal you. It heals how you show up with others. You build real self-trust. Every time you catch and correct yourself, you teach your brain, I can count on me to own it and grow. That's huge. Self-trust isn't built by being perfect. It's built by being accountable and kind to yourself. You keep your healing journey from being all or nothing. Without this, your brain goes, I messed up today, so what's the point? And throws the whole journey away. With self-forgiveness in real time, you say, I messed up today and I'm still on the journey. Huge difference. So let's land this plane. Self-forgiveness in real time is not about making excuses. It's about making room. Room for the fact that you are growing, learning, rewiring, breaking generational patterns, healing wounds you didn't create, and you're doing all of that while still living real life. You will slip. You will react. You will have days when the old you shows up with a strong opinion. That doesn't mean you've gone backwards. It means you're human. and your healing is active, not theoretical. Here's your day 26 affirmation. I forgive myself while I'm still learning. I can correct my behavior without condemning my entire being. Say it again. I forgive myself while I'm still learning. I can correct my behavior. You don't have to wait until you deserve grace to give it to yourself. Grace is what helps you become the version of you you're dreaming of. And remember, you are not behind in your healing. You're right on time to practice compassion in the exact moments you used to abandon yourself. All right, my love. That's day 26. I want you to carry this with you. The next time you catch yourself mid-pattern, whether you're snapping, shutting down, saying yes when you mean no, or drifting back into an old habit, pause, breathe, name it, correct it with love. That is self-forgiveness. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who is trying so hard to be better that they forget to be kind to themselves when they slip. Make sure you're following the podcast so you don't miss day 27 and day 28 as we close out this self-forgiveness journey together. And if you want more tools, journal prompts, and resources to support you beyond this series, come hang out with me at hpa.wayofthewiseowl.com. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I honor the version of you who is learning to say, I messed up. And I still deserve love, growth, and another chance. I'll meet you back here for day 27. Until then, be gentle with the you that's still in progress, because that's all of us. Talk soon.